Good morning, guys. Welcome to Operation Crypto. We will take a look at some news today. Free AC, which is Free Arrows Capital, are just consistently in the news at the minute, so we'll take a look at that. And we'll have a look at the Bitcoin price, which has dumped this morning. We've had I know this candle looks horrific, but it's only on the hourly time frame, so it's not too bad. But we have dropped down, and if you look at this in tandem with the Nasdaq, that's dropped down. The ES, which is the S&P futures, that's down as well. And if you look at the dollar, it had a little bit of a pump there, which is starting to just drop off here on the lower time frames. If you look at this on the 30 minute, you can see that it has had a push up and it is slightly rejecting. On that push up, Bitcoin dropped. And on this candle here that's formed, we're starting to push back up on Bitcoin. Not too much, but as you can see, when the dollar pushed to the upside, this was going down. And when the dollar is dropping to the downside, price is pushing up. And we have come into that area here, which is a little bit of a support area. If you look in the past, we rejected off this area twice and used it as support. So, I mean, that's currently the area that we need to monitor. For anything to bounce, it needs to be from this area. If we start getting a few closures on the hourly time frame below here, we are going to go back down and test these 17k levels. For me personally, I always knew that we would retest this level, but I didn't think it would happen quite as quick. I was still looking for a relief bounce up here. We've got so much open space up here that I'm thinking, right, is it going to be now that we push up and get a major relief bounce? But there's not much going on in the market, is there? It is a ghost town, and anything that's happening is getting aggressively sold off, and bears are massively in control. So it is what it is. If it's at a nice stable amount currently, you're probably not worrying, so it is what it is. For me, I've started, like I said on yesterday's video and previous videos, I have started to ladder into some altcoins. Nothing too crazy yet. I'm not going overboard. I'm not putting my entire net worth in. I'm just starting to trickle little amounts into a market. I do know that it can go lower, and every man and his dog is currently a genius and seems to think that it's going down to 10, 7, 12s. It may happen. It definitely may happen. I mean, with what's going on across the globe with economics, I mean, the state of country economics is horrific. Macro outlook, yeah, very, very bleak. But at some stage, the market will relief bounce. This is not a relief bounce so far. It is a little bit of a lull in a battle, I'd like to call it. I mean, we may continue down. This is what exactly happened here. We had that lull, traded sideways for a while, and then we dropped to a downside. And predominantly, I'm guessing most people are expecting the same to happen again. Chill out here for a bit, and then we're going to send it back down to who knows. I mean, 12, 13, 14, 15. I mean, there's some levels down there. This is a big get chart actually, so there's not too many levels I'm at to monitor, but that is something that could potentially happen. We do a very similar scenario to this. At some point, though, the market will get sucked the life out of shorts. Shorts will build up that aggressively. That there'll only be one way to send it, that's up, and that will liquidate all them shorts. Whether that's now or in a few months' time or whenever it'll happen, it will happen at some stage. And for now, we'll just have to sit on his hands and start just methodically laddering in. But in terms of analysis on Bitcoin, just go to this chart. I've got some levels marked up below. We have got this region here, which is around 14k, and then we've got that 85% drop. If you watch previous videos, I have mentioned that in previous cycles, Bitcoin has dropped 85% from all-time highs. And if that did happen, you're looking at around a 10k Bitcoin. Imagine if that did happen, I would be throwing the kitchen sink at it then. But let's wait and see. So that's that in terms of analysis of Bitcoin. Not much to talk about. I'm not going to talk any buys or sells currently because we're just monitoring it to see what goes on. Unfortunately, with the state of that, altcoins are getting hammered. You can see Bitcoin's down 3%, Ethereum's down 4%. I mean, some altcoins are just getting bled out. RSR's down 11%, but that's another coin I'm accumulating on the slow. But like I say, we'll talk about some news today, and mainly I want to talk about Free AC, which is Free Arrows Capital. Crypto hedge fund faces collapse after claims of a $650 million default on loan to Voyager Bank. So that's $650 million that they've defaulted on. Several things we can talk about on this aspect. Also, if we just read this section here, so Free AC had been deeply invested in a number of troubled cryptocurrency projects. That's not just troubled crypto, that's all of them. The vast majority of altcoins, between 80 and 95% down, and that's not even taking into consideration Terra, which went down about 99.9%. Axie Infinity, a play-to-earn game as well, which is another big GameFi asset, that lost almost $700 million due to a hack from North Korea last year. So there's a lot of things going on. $650 million default, that's the first thing. Also notice as well, if we just take a quick look at this, Genesis faces hundreds of millions in losses as 3AC exposure swamps crypto lenders. So Genesis is an exchange in the US, and that again, they've been talking about them losing money. Genesis, which own Digital Currency Group, also the owner of CoinDesk, issued a following statement. As we already stated on June 17th, we mitigated our losses with a large counterparty who failed to meet a margin call on us, so that's 3AC. We sold collateral, hedged our downside and moved on. Our business continues to operate normally and we are meeting all of our clients' needs. There's not been anything from 3AC for a while. If we just take a look at, let's see if I can find my Twitter. 3 Arrows Capital is somewhere. We'll have a look at Sue's Twitter. It'll tell us Sue. There we go. So 3 Arrows Capital. This is his page here. There you go. That's the last thing that's come from him. We are in the process of communicating with relevant parties. I'm fully committed to working this out. June the 15th. So you're talking 2 to 3 weeks ago now, and nothing from them since. Makes you wonder what's going on, doesn't it? But that's the news mainly that I want to cover. $650 million default, and then we've got Genesis saying that they've been margin called by 3AC. So it's a crazy time for cryptocurrency. There's been a lot going on. We've had the Luna crash, the collapse of UST and Luna itself, which is kind of trying to come back to life with Luna Classic and USTC, which is that classic version of a stablecoin. I think that'll collapse too, to be honest. Platforms like Nexo have had a lot of FUD. BlockFi had a lot of FUD. I think they've been propped up by Alameda too, FTX, which is basically the same thing. And yeah, it's a crazy time, but at some stage you will see some light at the end of the tunnel. It'll just take that piece of news, or one single piece of news, which may start to pull us back to the upside. In my opinion, I still think crypto is that hedge against the traditional finance system, which it's tough really, isn't it? I mean, you want to buy crypto, but then you see your dollar balance dying off and you're thinking, have I done the right thing? For me, long term, it's still one of the best counterparties to your traditional fiat model, which I think at some stage will be taken over. Whether that's with Bitcoin, I'm kind of not sure. I think Bitcoin is just, I don't know, it's too slow and too clunky. For me, something like, I don't know, reserve rights. Even an Elrond network, it's a very capable network. We've got not many people like it. I mean, I don't hold it, but XRP, the capabilities of that network is second to none. It's pretty much on par with Visa, so I think that technology can be used at some stage, and the era of digital finance is coming. Since COVID, most people these days, I mean, how often do you have cash, unless you're a contractor in the building trade who does foreigners or whatever, or it's hard, I mean, to not get paid in cash in those type of roles. But for me personally, I rarely see cash now, and if you work in an office, if you've got that type of job where you get money paid into your bank and you use your phone, don't you? Contactless payments for everything, and eventually that we are using now contactless payments, which is still backed by gold. I think at some stage we will be backed by a digital asset. Who knows, the underlying asset could be Bitcoin at some time, but I think we're still a long way from it, and seeing the state of the market now, what's happened over the last 6 months, it does put a little bit of a fear up people. But this has happened multiple times before. We've probably not had this macro weight on our shoulder as we have now. I mean, watching the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 swing in the same way as Bitcoin is a little bit counterintuitive, but for now we just have to take it for what it is. But again, some thoughts from me on the market today. A little bit of analysis on Bitcoin. The analysis is, it looks fucked, basically. That is the analysis. We need to bounce on this level here, and around 19,300, or we are going to revisit 1,700. And if we don't bounce on there, then you look at 14 to 15k. But for now, let's just keep his eyes on it. Try not to get his head in too much of a chart. Usually what I do is a Bitcoin video in the morning and then some price analysis video on altcoin in the afternoon. But there's not much point unless I start looking for levels below of doing those type of videos. For now, we just need to be patient and wait out. So just mainly crypto as a whole, and we'll try to cover some more news. And like I say, I'll be doing a course soon, so something for you to if you're into crypto, something for you just to monitor and keep up to date with these videos on this channel. But like I say, that's it for today. If you're new to this channel, please make sure that you are subscribed, hit that like button, and I'll catch you next time.